It was originally called Decorations Day. It is where it came from the carnage of the Civil War. We lost some 620,000 people in a conflict. That'd be losing about 6.5 million today. To put that in perspective, that would touch every single one of your households. Would have lost somebody in the war. So General Logan issued General Order number 11 on May 11th, 1868. The purpose of that order was to come out for the comrades to recognize and be able to see their fallen for as long as they live. If I had to say what it means to me, that would be it. Today I'm going to break down. I got 39 names on the back of my shirt. And it's okay for me to break down today. It's good for you guys that haven't been in conflicts to see it. Because besides what it means to me, the greater meaning is what it means to the country. We can't have politicians send our kids away to war and fight wars without understanding the true cost of war. It's not cliche. Freedom is not free. Children need to learn it. They need to be taught it. They need to see the pain of people that have been in war and seen the brutality, the gruesomeness, what war is. It's the rest of the world. We're so grateful, and this is how it's supposed to be, that the majority of the population is not supposed to step foot on a battlefield. It's a burden that the few are supposed to take for the majority, and we do it with great pride. So that's what it means to me. And hoping that we can pass this on and not lose our culture with, as the days go on and less people are serving in battle, and more importantly, less parents are teaching. I got some fantastic friends in this audience right here. They're as red-blooded as the guy that's fought in every war in their lifetime. It doesn't matter they didn't set a foot on a battlefield. They're as red-blooded as it gets, and true to the cause, and it takes a collective effort to do it. So for those of you that haven't stepped foot on a battlefield, but you're still as red-blooded as it gets, you're doing your part. So from me, thank you, because it means a lot. A big part of this day that doesn't go recognized are the unsung heroes, and those are the military spouses. Day in, day out, putting band-aids on, wrestling with the kids on the floor, making dinner, making breakfast, taking them to school, getting them to preschool, getting them home, going to see parent-teacher conferences, the whole 9 yards. They're handling the mission, all while getting home to put that smile on their face, to jump on Skype, or to make sure that that letter is written, because the deployed world revolves around correspondence. So to the unsung heroes, thank you.
Yeah, you know what, that deserves a round of applause.
Kenny, he's the man of the hour. I'm going to talk about him in just a second. My dad is here, flew in from Minnesota. Thanks for coming out, Dad. Mr. Mike Noto flew in from Colorado. Dan back there, a colleague, Frank, another colleague. Who am I missing? The rest, I mean, it's for people that don't know. We all know each other, but some of the people don't know everybody. So those are some of them. Some of you don't know Kara's brother in the back, Jason. The one and only, the Miss Laura Castro, standing over here in the white hat. If I had 3 of her, I could take over the world. She's exceptional. But Kenny, about 90 years ago, he was born in a small town called Waubee, Iowa, in a 2-story house had no electricity, no water, and no indoor bathroom. So we chuckle when we look at the outhouse that's tucked behind those trees right there. That's about the distance that they went to go to the bathroom when it was 10 below zero, not 40. So in the middle of the night when you had to go, you're hiking through snow over there to that bathroom. And for the women, I'm sure you can appreciate the older brother peeing on the toilet seat. 30 minutes later, now it's a solid block of ice on top of the toilet seat. So it truly was a different time. We all have each generation has its different time, but that truly was a different time. Kenny joined the Marine Corps, was on his way to Iwo Jima, got pulled back, and has had an amazing career since then. Like, I love listening to that man talk about his life. It's a true American story. That's, if you have the time, make sure you come by, shake his hand, and say hello. Kenny had two older brothers, Leo and Francis. Leo got drafted into the Army, and when Leo got drafted, Francis said, well, if you're going, I'm going, and he signed up. And they both went to the 31st Infantry Regiment of the Army, and they got into the fight of their lives in the Philippines, ended up on the famous Bataan Death March. Tough men, they made the march, and ended up becoming prisoners of war in the Cabanatuan Prison Camp. If you don't know anything about that camp, do yourself a favor, go get the movie The Great Raid, read the book, do something, but at least go watch the movie The Great Raid. It's where the Army Rangers were born. It's the most daring rescue of American POWs in American history. So unfortunately it came 1 year too late. So I think about Leo, who died in that prison camp. They put a dog tag in his mouth. They put him in the ground. And that was the end of his time here. God reached down and grabbed him and pulled him back up to a better place. Francis made it to what are called the hell ships, rightfully named hell ships. The prison camps were atrocious. They were starving them to death, malnutrition, beating, torture, everything you name it, which I still don't understand to this day. Is we all know about the Holocaust. We know about the criminals of war that we named out of the Holocaust. We haven't done that with the Japanese. They are walking amongst us here in the United States, criminals, and we're not doing anything about it. I don't get it. So that is a whole nother issue. I'm not going to get into it, but so Francis was put on the Artisan Maru. October 11th, the Artisan Maru set sail. They packed him in there. Mr. Greg Calty, glad you can make it. They packed him in there so tight that they died on their feet. They're in the wells of these ships. 10,000 POWs died in transit when they were picking them up to take them to work camps. So they would fall. Well, actually, they couldn't fall. They would just die on their feet. So packed in there that they could not fall down and die. Defecating on themselves, urinating. They did have, when they could work out a system to move around in there, they would have buckets that they once in a while could be able to take up and toss out. But imagine the tropical heat of that area being down in the wells and ships. So Francis had been on that ship for 13 days when they were transporting him back. He was being escorted by Japanese warships in the USS Snooker Shark. It's unknown at this time which submarine sunk the ship. I think the Snook, I can't remember which one. One of them got credit for it. So at 5 o'clock at night, they torpedoed the ship. No POWs or Japanese died in the actual torpedoing of the ship. The Japanese cut the ropes to the well, and left the POWs down in the well to drown. You know, POWs doing what they do, adapting and overcoming. They refastened the ropes, and every POW got off that ship. The only reason that I know what happened is because there was 9 survivors, and a couple of them lived to talk about it, and I read their formal reports. They talked about the POWs in the middle of the ocean swimming to the Japanese ships and being clubbed as they tried to climb on board. So they just clubbed them in the middle of the ocean and left them there to die. 9 made it out of there. 5 made it back to live and be reunited with the United States. The other 4 were recaptured prior to making mainland. So I talk about my brothers, the 39 on my shirt. I'm sure some of you guys here, I know Tommy does. I got to think about it. I'm calling them brothers. I don't have any brothers in the ground, but that man does. The words seem feeble when it comes to talking about it. We look to the answers as to why for so many years we've achieved so much, prospered as no other people on earth. It was because here in this land we unleashed the energy and individual genius of man greater to an extent that has ever been done before. Freedom and the dignity of the individual have been more available and assured here more than any other place on earth. The price for this freedom at times has been high, but we've never been unwilling to pay that price. Those who say that we're in a time there are no heroes, I say they don't know where to look. The sloping hills of Arlington National Cemetery, with its row upon row of simple white markers bearing crosses or the stars of David, they add up to only a tiny fraction of the price that has been paid. Each one of these markers is a monument to the kind of hero that I spoke of earlier. Their lives ended in places called Bellawood, the Argonne, Omaha Beach, Salerno, halfway around the world on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Pork Chop Hill, the Chosin Reservoir, and 100 rice paddies and jungles in a place called Vietnam, the mountains of Afghanistan, and the sands of Iraq. Under such a marker lies a young man named Martin Treptow. He left his job in a small-town barbershop in 1917 to go to France with the Framed Rainbow Division. There, on the Western Front, he was killed trying to carry a message between battalions under heavy artillery fire. We're told on his body was found on diary leaf, under the heading "My Pledge," he had written these words: "America must win this war. Therefore, I will work, I will sacrifice, I will save, I will endure. I will fight cheerfully, as if to do my utmost, as if the issue, the entire struggle, depends on me alone." We must realize that no arsenal or no weapon in the arsenals of the world is so formidable as the will and moral courage of free men and women. It's a weapon our adversaries in today's world do not have. It's a weapon that we as Americans do have. Let that be understood by those who practice terrorism and prey upon their neighbors. As for the enemies of freedom, those who are potential adversaries, they will be reminded that peace is the highest aspiration of the American people. We will negotiate for it, sacrifice for it. We will not surrender for it, now or ever, because we are Americans. Corporal Kenneth Miles.
Oh, God. Sorry. Oh,
Say prison. Say prison.
Chief Willie Diggs. Specialist Greg. Commander Rainville. Mark Broadus. Sergeant Miles. Sergeant Leo Miles. Sergeant Leo Hamilton Miles. Prisoner of war, killed in action. Cabanatuan Prison Camp, Philippines. Silver Star, Purple Heart. Corporal Miles. Corporal Francis Miles. Corporal Francis D. Miles. Prisoner of war, killed in action. Artisan Maru Hell Ship, South China Sea. Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart.
Take a seat.
Ready, preset. Ready, pull. Preset. Hand salute. Ready, two. Ready, face. Right face. Forward march. On behalf of an extremely proud and grateful family, friends, and country, it's with great regret I present you with these ceremonial flags. God bless their souls. All right. Woo.
Hey, son.
Part of the tradition of Memorial Day is that in the morning you raise that flag up fast and you lower it down slow. But at noon, you're supposed to raise that flag back up. Because the hard part is not mourn the fallen. The hard part is to celebrate those men and women that paid the ultimate sacrifice. And I like that quail over there too. So, let's loosen it up a little bit, have a drink, and let's remember some heroes. Sure.
This would be difficult for me too. Back in 2003, when my son went to war, it's like he said about the family and the spouses, and I had it bothered. I didn't know what to do, so I decided to write a letter that I was going to put in the paper. They wouldn't allow me to do it, so I bought part of the paper. I sent my son to war today, and my mind, like many others, asked why war. As an American, I am free to speculate. It is a fight to destroy weapons of mass destruction, acquire oil, dismantle terrorist networks, restore human rights, or even divert attention from presidential sex with an intern. Then I am reminded the war has been ongoing for 18 months now. The question is not why, it is rather where will the battles be fought. On September 11th, 2001, it was learned that the United States has zealot enemies here and abroad, and that do nothing, and to do nothing was no longer an option. I sent my son to war today, and like many other men and women in uniform, he responded with honor, pride, and dignity, answering the call to protect and serve his country. I want him to stay in the relative safety of America like any father would do. If I could put on his uniform and take his place, there would be no hesitation, my life or his, an easy trade. But I can't. I know I must send him now, so I won't have to send my grandson later. I sent my son to war today because war has brought to America, and I cannot turn my back in fear. I must put my faith and trust in God and the leaders of this country. As a citizen, I know only a small fraction of the issues that drive the decisions to respond militarily. I do, however, know what is at stake, the very safety, security, and freedom of the American people. I sent my son to war today, and all he expects for his hardships and sacrifice is the support and prayers of the people he has sworn to defend. It is that simple. It is that simple as that. I know we can depend on him. Can he count on you? And I put my name on this thing in the paper and my telephone number, and I got phone calls all over the country. World War II guys can't, because I told them they wouldn't let me put it in here, and they said they were going to send me money. They didn't care. We'll put it in. And I had so many phone calls. There were so many people at that time, and so many mothers called me and said they felt the same way, but they didn't know how to say it. And it was just, this is how I felt, and I had to do it. And so I love my son very much, and it was a bad deal. And I also want to thank Kara McAtee also for basically putting up with what's happened in his life and staying there for him, because without her, I would not have two beautiful little grandkids. Thank you so much, Kara. So,
Love that guy.
Let's turn it up!